Welcome back to That Talking Thing. I'm Kim.
I'm Jason.
This is episode 12, season 2. We have some life.
Family topics. Life topics, family topics, same thing.
I wrote this topic a few weeks ago. I'm vague on what I meant with it, so we're going to peel back the layers of this onion and try to understand what I meant. But it's probably related to our kids. They're 10, they're 13. They're getting older. And the topic is empowering your kids to care for themselves.
Mm.
When I think of this topic, I think it must relate to hygiene because I'm I'm the protein police and I'm the hygiene police in our home. And by hygiene, it's trimming your nails, getting a haircut, keeping your room kind of clean, washing well and not smelling, using deodorant.
Brushing.
Did I say using Q-tips so you don't have earwax kind of just falling out onto your AirPods? Yeah.
Mhm.
All of those things. It's probably rooted in this fear that people at school will say my kid's the smelly kid or the gross kid or the dirty kid or
Yeah.
the kid covered in dog and cat hair. I don't know. Hygiene is important to me to put on. Not that I'm like fancy and well put together, but I'm clean.
Yeah.
How does the topic of empowering kids to care for yourself translate as a mysterious topic for you?
Yeah. That is a challenge. I think it's interesting your word choice, empowering the kids to care for themselves, because it makes it seem like kind of thing that we should like facilitate. But
Well,
like it's you're also like for themselves. So you're like, yeah, empowering them. Like they have a toothbrush, like one of empowering.
but to this
that-
point, they've been receiving reminders from us that
Yeah.
your nails are getting too long, your earwax is in your hanging out
Yeah.
right here, or it
I-
is time for that shower. So empowerment to me means handing off the job of doing it, of communicating that it must be done to somebody else and putting them in charge. That's empowerment.
I think of the two of finding a way to get them to care about these things that they maybe don't care about.
Right.
And sometimes other parents or books will tell us like, well, just wait. When they go through puberty, they'll get interested in significant others and start to care about these things when they don't. And you're like, I know some like 20-year-olds that don't seem to care that they stink. So I don't want one of them. but me, it's like, yeah, how do we get them like so it's weird, the trust. It's a lot of parenting is kind of like, it's okay, just love your kid and trust that it'll be okay. But if we care about this, we got to talk about it. Like, I guess we could care about it ourselves if we're always like, yo, your breath smells, dude, or like making fun of them, um, or something, or like commenting, like, but it's so rude. And that reminds me of like that one guy who, there was some interview, it was a guy was talking, he studies like super successful people become presidents and stuff like that. And he said like the formula is to have one parent that loves you unconditionally no matter what, and another parent that's like a hard ass and you can never please and is like barely there, and like, you always want their affection, and and then I think the interviewer was like, oh, so how do you do that with your kids? He's like, oh no, we both love them unconditionally. Like you're not gonna like just yell at your kid. So like, because that, if you really want them to care about that, you could yell at them a lot. I often say that I hear my dad literally in my head when I leave a light on or I leave a door open. And that's kind of harmless thing, but it's just that he kind of yelled at me about those things so often. So I'm sure if we yelled at them all the time, I don't know. Sometimes it seems not like it's like every day you brush your teeth. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
There's things that we've tried. We've tried a very hands-off approach for a short period of time. We've said, I don't know, play as long as you want. Eat as much
yeah,
snacks as you want. I give up.
yeah, let them, yeah.
And our children haven't put boundaries of their own in place through that, but I think something that we are doing, we did it today with our son. We involved him in setting his own schedule because he's off school. He has spring break this week, so we were on a trip. Our trip ended yesterday. Today through Monday, including Monday, he's home and he can set his own schedule within boundaries.
Yeah.
He operates well within a schedule. It's a quality of his that we've recognized. But maybe that's a version of empowering him to take care of himself, involving him in
Right.
setting the schedule for his time.
Yeah.
rather than say, "Do what you think you should do." This vague,
Right.
uh, no schedule. He can't live that
And
way.
he needs a schedule.
He
Like
needs
his
it.
brain needs a schedule.
So the version
So take
today
this.
wasn't, "Mom, set your schedule." It was, we collaborated.
That's a good answer. I would
Yeah.
bring that out on Marin when I was, um, I don't know if I punishing her or doing something, but I would say, I was like, "What would you do? Like, if your daughter was doing this, you know?" She's like, "Yeah, it'd be hard." I was like, "Yeah." Like, I kinda like, if I let you stay up really late, like, I won't be a good dad, so what am I supposed to do? And so, like, involving them that way helps a lot. Um, I had another thought here. It'll come back to me.
I mean, they're kind of pre-puberty, puberty age. Maybe that will still happen. Maybe they'll still hit
Yeah.
puberty and start to care.
Yeah, and I do see it. Some things, I think Mary brushes like, sometimes she doesn't brush long enough, but, like, she does all those things
Yeah.
without being prompted, and, like, it's getting better, so it's good to see it getting better. Um,
I find myself often thinking back to when I was a kid, and maybe I think too romantically about who I was as a kid, but I think I was a kid that was always compliant and kept clean, and I learned to cook at a young age. I took care of
yeah,
myself. I kept my room really tidy, and not because my parents were forcing me to, or not because the opposite, that they were unclean or untidy
yeah.
or didn't make meals. It was like
Somehow you develop
in
that
my
value.
nature,
Yeah.
and I developed that value. Yeah.
I don't know how we can.
I feel like all of the above are true. You align with your parents and become that adult. You are the
Mm,
opposite of them and become that adult, or you kind of formulate your own variation of it.
yeah.
Good luck.
Okay. It's like our call off. Here's a really difficult thing. I don't have the answers. Good luck, everyone. This is
It'll be a slow process to translating what it means to empower our kids to take care of themselves. But I think handing over the responsibility of remembering self care
yeah.
to a degree, that's
Yeah,
the
you have
goal.
to give them the chance to fail. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. There's a
Chance to
story
fail.
where we made pizza while you were away, like a frozen pizza. It came out the oven. It's crazy hot.
Ugh.
And I cut it up and I told Marin, like, watch out, it's hot. And she said, I don't care, and took a bite and like burned the roof of her mouth. And then like the next few days, she was like, it hurts every time she eats. Oh, I'm really sorry, babe. And but in my head, I was like, oh, she kind of learned a lesson, like to not eat hot food. But when you got back, then like the next week we had pizza. I think it was pizza or something else. It was really hot. I was like, watch out, it was really hot. And she knows. She said like, I don't care, and ate it. It didn't burn her this time. But I was like, I guess she didn't really learn that lesson. So
Uh-oh.
sometimes, yeah, I'm like, how many times? I don't, but definitely saying stuff over and over. Do you remember they used to run? We
She's
were like,
oppositional, so I can see why she didn't care
yeah,
just because you said it.
yeah. I mean, she must have learned something from burning her mouth. But
Go
maybe it takes more than one time touching a hot stove. They used to run down the hill to the bus stop. The bus picks them up at the bottom of the hill. They would run on the and like every time I was with them, I'd be like, don't run, walk." And it was like every day.
Not because they were running on a flat surface, because they were running on, like, river rocks.
Yeah. Um, I'm
Twist your
mixing up my analogy
Oh,
here because I was like, how many times do I gotta tell them? Also, like with the kids, like waking the dog up with their face when the
oh,
dog's
yeah.
sleeping, and you're right in their face, like, "Look, look, look." And I'm like, "Dog's gonna break you." And then one time I snapped, and I was like, I don't know, every day, every single day, at least like 10 times a day. So let me think, like that's like 3,650 times in the past year, my whole life. I'm spending like 1% of my time telling you not to put your face in front of the dog when it's sleeping, but it obviously doesn't stick in. So I don't care. Get bit by the dog. I kind of flipped. I did exactly that. I don't know if that was in the moment. We talked last week about, staying calm.
Stay
I did,
That's not how you stay calm.
but there's been a couple cases, but it's been better. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like, I don't know,
yeah.
maybe like the outburst worked. It kind of like, it's stuck in their head or like that. I don't know, like that helped. But I don't think it always, I used to always say like, I was kind of beat as a kid, and it's like, I remember being beat, but I don't ever remember the lesson. There was always a lesson, which is, here's why I'm hitting you. And it's like, um, I don't remember. I was like, yeah. So I always think of that as like, well, if you're, you know, you could think like I'm doing this to kind of get their attention. You 100% get their attention, but they're not listening. But maybe like my anger wasn't directed as forcefully at them or something. I don't know. But that did seem to help a little bit since that. Or maybe I'd yeah,
It's probably
a little bit of both.
how different the parenting style was in that moment was notable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
it's just you
shakeup.
can only use it, like, every once in a while.
Yeah, don't overuse the dad
It
freaks out moment.
yeah. It yeah, it's hit or miss when I do that. Yeah. I'll try again this week. I'll be out my kids. I'll report back it.
I don't know if is it empowering your children to care for themselves is not like a model good behavior thing. We talked about modeling good
Mhm.
behavior before, but I mean, we shower regularly.
Yeah.
We try to eat
So
healthy.
yeah.
Yeah. On the
Okay.
topic of eating healthy, we
Okay.
should transition to our next topic,
Okay.
which
Good.
is that we took our first family vacation, the first family vacation where we took a plane
Since COVID, so
since
a couple
COVID.
years.
We've traveled by car and had kind of
Went camping.
a
Yeah.
modest
Oh, we went to, like,
vacation.
a little
We
beach house
we
in
flew to
Virginia.
Puerto Rico where Jason's father and stepmom and extended family live.
Mhm.
We took the kids and we did a lot of planning in advance because we know that our kids are kind of introverted slash have been affected by COVID differently than us.
Mhm.
Um, and it was a big change for them to take
Yeah.
this trip, but all the pre-planning worked. It went really well.
Yeah. I was kinda worried. We we had some vacations in the past. Last time we went to Disney World, I was like, "I will never come here
That was
ever
many
again."
years
Like, the
ago
whole
too.
family hates everyone. Like, why did we put ourselves through this? And, there's kind of times when we're doing a lot with our kids, but they just wanna be home, like, vegging or something, and so it's, like, screens and things and getting them away from them could be a challenge, and it was kinda like, man, it's, like, weird to, like, spend all this time and money and effort to get them somewhere, and then are we gonna have, like, a challenge, like, getting them involved? But so I was a little worried about that, but it went well, and like you said, it was kind of planning. I think, like, we know, like, our son in particular and our daughter too, like, need a schedule, so, like, we were on top of that every morning, the Slack message to the family Slack, this is what the schedule is, so they could expect things, which really helped. I feel like I told you also that we, um, like, watched ourselves with the kids. We didn't what I just said, like, freak out on the kids.
Zero freak out.
Right, yeah, we were like,
I don't think I freaked out at
was like,
all.
that
I
was
don't think I got
no, no.
angry.
No, no, we caught ours
Well,
there was moments where, like, it was a little fight, and I could see, like, man, on a different day, we were like, "I'm not gonna let her talk to me that way," or, like or, "I'm gonna" like, here's like, um, I don't know, we just knew, like, we were egging our kids on or kind of, like, annoying them or what
too
was the
many teachable moments. We didn't
yeah,
embrace any teachable
choosing our battles, kinda
choosing battles and
yeah,
ignoring teachable moments.
yeah, um so we cut it off at the pass, like, we didn't allow it to oh, what was it when my son kinda had his phone out in a moment when he wasn't supposed to, and, like, normally, there'd be some kind of, like, parental tone of, like, "I told you not to have that here," and we were what? And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and we're like, "No, it's okay. You, like what were you talking?" And, so we kind of, like, affected that, like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Like, let him slide on that and weren't as
Also, I think when he had his phone out, we were, like, in the security line at the airport, and I didn't just say, "Please put your phone away." I said, "Please keep your phone in your pocket until we're sitting at our gate."
oh, yeah, more specific.
So,
Yeah,
I, like, got very granular.
yeah.
I was like, "For now, until this long."
We made sure they were fed on time, kinda like you, like,
Yep.
were monitor although I gave them a lot of sugar the one time, but
Jason gave our kids so much sugar.
they did
I didn't even
oh,
know
they
I
had
don't
a
even know
donut
why.
at the bakery, so I had to get something.
You did it. You can walk away. You can say, no gracias. Adios. No postres."
It was vacation, and but you know what? Even then, we had that thought, and I don't know if you expressed it out loud, but some you were just kinda like, "Sugar again? More sugar?" But even that could have been, like, a weird we were like, we handled it, and then we talked and we said, "Yeah, it's vacation," and then we had a conversation with, like, the kids. We were like, "Well, hey, this is, like, some more sugar, but it's okay to do this as long like, what are we worried about? We're worried that you might get
Turn
rowdy
psycho.
and get left. So, like, as long as you guys are cooperative and as good as you have been, like, you can eat a donut and you'll be okay." Like, "Okay." And we almost got, like, that, like, tacit contract with them, which worked on this vacation. I don't know. And you know what? We scheduled time for them
Yes.
to have free time, even though, like, you know
I was really worried
Yeah.
because our daughter is a very deep sense of fairness and equality.
Mhm.
I was really worried that because she was waking up 2, 3 hours later than Isaac every morning, he'd be up with me by 7.
Yeah.
She might not get up till eight
Yeah.
thirty, 9:30. He would have already had that much time playing his computer,
Right.
playing
That's
on
like a
his
thing
phone.
she's had.
I think she just didn't notice.
We talked about it at a meeting recently too, so maybe that helped. But
Maybe.
yeah, we were talking about
I was worried that she would,
some people say it, some
squeeze back those hours. But
mm,
even when we would get home from events to
yeah.
the Airbnb, our Airbnb had a simple kiddie pool. Instead of getting showered and going to play on
Yeah.
her iPad,
Yeah.
he would shower right away, go play on his computer. She would jump in the pool,
She wanted
play
to be in the
more.
pool, yeah. And then the one day she was like, "Oh, really? I just wanna, like, lay in bed and chill." And we figured it out, and we were like, "Oh, but you'll get this time
Yep,
here, like, on the schedule." It's like,
yep.
"Okay." Yeah, so I think building in that time, like I know I need
Be
you were like
realistic.
you asked me, "Should we invite friends over tonight?" And I was like, "No, like, I'm kinda, like, socialized out." Even though it was just our family.
Don't you want more?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I haven't had, like, a long time.
I tried to invite our best
Past me.
friends over because they were also on vacation. They had a pet
Yeah.
pass away while they were traveling, and some other things in their family were chaotic.
Are
So
they coming
I
over?
no,
It's
they're
okay if
not.
they do.
They didn't want to, but I felt like that was the thing I could offer because I know getting back from a trip
Yeah.
for the mom is
Mm.
like grocery shop crazy time,
Work.
clean up, put stuff away, laundry city. There's a lot that happens. Your house is chaotic because whoever was watching your pets at home left things in disarray. Like there's so much work
Yeah.
involved on vacation for me
Yeah.
before, during, and after that.
Mm.
And you were helpful with unpacking, but I just
But then
thought
I fell asleep, like, I 'cause we woke up at 3 in the morning too. So I
you're
did
like, I had a great nap.
Yeah, you're like, "Everyone's really tired." I was like, "I slept for 2 hours. Thanks for letting me sleep." I
I did
just
go to
gotta
bed at
fall
8
asleep
o'clock
in the middle
last
of
night.
unpacking.
So
Yeah.
I watched Aquaman.
Oh, cool.
All that talk
Classic.
about Isaac's returning to the sea. I was
Oh,
like,
funny.
hmm, Aquaman.
Good
That
show.
was a good trip. Where do you want to go next?
Oh, okay. Which I haven't been to Hawaii. It's on the bucket list for
You're turning
kids and us.
40.
Talked about that for that, but I also I mean, we bought the river house,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of wanna go there, and use it,
It
so,
would be fun to have a big party there
yeah.
for you.
Um,
And
what else?
it's apparently the home of a former nudist. So if you wanted to enter your
Clothing
40s
optional.
in a clothing optional way, it would be
I feel like I'm due for a
allowed.
change. I thought it'd be like on a diet or something, but
New glasses?
yeah, new glasses. I saw a pair I kinda like,
I'm going to end up with
but
glasses too.
maybe I'll just stop wearing clothes. No.
Stay tuned for episode 13, please. I don't know. Julie was,
We
when
got
I was doing work on our river house with Julie, she was reflecting on travel and all the places she wants to go. And I don't have a list like that.
oh. Yeah, 'cause I'm good.
I really don't.
That's like how they, like,
My favorite thing is
milestone their life.
doing nothing.
We haven't
I
been
don't have,
to, like, a resort in Mexico for a while, so it'd be fun.
but we've done that.
But
So it's not like a
we were,
bucket
like,
list trip.
in Caribbean. Oh, so that's what we need would it be something new? I don't know. I mean, well, it's a little crazy now. The kids are getting to the age where we could go to, like, Europe and look at museums and stuff.
Yep.
And as long as we have a
2
schedule,
hours a day.
get some free time, keep them well fed, like, we could probably do it. So stuff like that.
We
Pretty
should.
good, like, some old buildings,
Isaac's
some
school
paintings.
schedule for 2022, 23 is published. So we know our weeks.
Yeah. Alaska was fun. When I went up there, it'd be cool for the kids. Hmm.
I don't think big enough, but I'll try.
Do we have to?
We never get comments on our podcast, but if somebody did have a comment of where we should
Just go
travel
fun.
to
Yeah. Let us
that you went to that was fun. The only place on my list is New Zealand. I want to go
It's
where they
beautiful
filmed
there.
Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. So
look
I
at the
think there's, like, a
trees.
park or something. There's just, like, a thing. It's probably just, like, one mound with a plaque, and it's like,
I want to go to Bilbo Baggins' house. Can you stay in the little hobbit house? That'd be great.
And they must have something like that somewhere. Yeah.
You're very tall. You'd be the Gandalf.
Yeah.
I'll be the hobbit. You be, and Isaac's tall also.
Yeah.
Oh well.
You guys stay in the Hobbit house. We'll go.
I'm gonna keep thinking about where to travel next. We should
Okay.
book stuff.
Wow, already? Yeah. It's good to be
Yeah,
planning. That's a great thing is, like, to have a trip on the horizon is, like, a life hack to
it is.
be happier. You got something to look forward to.
I agree 100%.
So, we'll get
Cool.
on that. Give us your ideas. Thanks.
Happy travels. Thanks.